Okay, my name is David Allen. I'm the CEO of Mail-Rite Media. I've been an entrepreneur for over 50 years. I've been in over 75 different businesses, most of them I owned or was in some kind of ownership capacity. I am the best-selling author of the $100 Million Playbook, and I'm also the author of Direct Mail for Business. Over the years, with those 75 different businesses, I learned what worked and what didn't. And I put them together in my own playbook of what I thought would make me successful and the companies that I worked with successful. And I wound up helping my clients generate billions of dollars throughout the United States, all over the country. And most of the techniques or ideas that I have are in the $100 Million Playbook. All right, today's topics are Google Business Profile. I'm going to give you 3 tips on raising your standings in search that won't cost you anything. I'm going to share with you how to get and keep new customers. And I'm going to share my 3-pronged approach to customer growth. Before I go any farther, just so I can tailor this a little bit to what we're dealing with here, if I can go around the room real quick and just tell me what business you're in. So you're in the business with Chamber, okay, and you're in the library, and you're in insurance. Okay. Real estate. Real estate, sir. Behavioral health. Insurance. And we know. I mean, we should know by now, right? After.
I also sell jewelry on the side.
There you go. All right. Okay. How many of you familiar with Google My Business? Little, not really. All right. In January, Google changed their name of Google My Business to Google Business Profile, and it includes Google Maps, which is a really important search item today, which I'll get into. Okay? Now, the Google Business Profile, which I mentioned is Google Maps and Google Business Profile, are more important today when it comes to local search than anything else. Here's an example. If you were to search me out, what it looks like on a phone is there's Mail-Rite Media, a couple of photographs, and a couple of listings in there, okay? Now, I Googled myself. I put mail-right up on top. That's all I did. You will notice I dominate the page. Every single listing is me. Now, they're not all my listings. I'm listed on LinkedIn, Facebook, MapQuest, this other company, Rocket Reach. I don't even know who they are, but they list me, so okay, I'll take it. Everyone has seen this when you're looking something up at Google, right? This big block. That is your Google Business Profile as far as in search is concerned. That was what used to be all by itself to be called Google My Business. All right? This is where a ton of information is, and it needs to be optimized or you're in trouble. All right. Now, who has filled out their profile for their company or business? Anybody here? You? Long time ago.
It's wrong.
Okay. Well, okay, at least you did it. All right. Now, well, I'll get into this in a second, but right now this is a little thing from Google. But when you're filling out the profile, you want to go up, and I'm going to explain how to do that, and claim your business. Okay? Because if you haven't claimed it, somebody else can. That's number one. And then you'd be really in trouble, because it could happen. And they could just say, well, you won't, even though it's free, they could hold you hostage. And 2, you want to be as far up in search as you possibly can. All right?
Do you have a physical address to claim a business?
Not anymore.
No.
Not anymore. I'll explain what's going on with that in a minute. Okay. Does anyone know, do you know how to optimize your Google Business Profile? Not unusual. That's what we do. That's what companies hire us to do. because it's an art. Who knows what the Google 3-pack is? Anybody? Okay. You've seen it hundreds of times if you search for things on Google, but you probably don't realize what it is. All right? I'm going to show you. This is Google Maps, but it's the same principle. When you search for something, the first thing that usually comes up, if it's something popular, you're going to see ads, right? And you don't sometimes notice it. They're doing a great job with it, but there's ads there. So below the ads, you will see 3 listings, all right? Those are the top listings on that local search. There might be some things underneath that, but you want to be in what they call, that's the 3-pack. Because if you're like most of us, we have no patience. How many of you even go past the first page anymore? Remember, you used to go, you search page after page after page of something. Now it's like, you're not on the first page, I'll redo something, I'll research it, right? So you want to be on the first page and you want to be in the 3-pack. Now, this is an example of the 3-pack on Google Maps. Google Maps now is becoming super popular for search, especially if you want to find something, all right? And you want to come up on the top 3, if at all possible, depending on where you're located. Now, I'm also a professional photographer. This is my photography company, David Allen Photography. It's at davidallen.org. Feel free to check it out anytime and see my photographs. I got into this, interestingly, I've been shooting since I'm 10 years old. I've been shooting cameras at 14. I bought my first 35 millimeter camera. People didn't know what that was. But I've always enjoyed it. And about a dozen years ago, I really decided to really get serious and really try to make myself really, really great at it. And at the same time, I started shooting people's events and different real estate. And I wasn't charging anything, just to do it. And all of a sudden, people start hiring me and want to give me money. I'm like, that works, right? And pretty soon, it's a full-fledged business. You may have said, who's here have seen, for instance, advertisements for Perino Builders? Anybody here seen for Perino? H&M Landscape, any of those? My shots are in Cleveland Magazine. They're all over the place. So anyway, I optimized my Google business. And all I did here was, in the search up top, you'll see it says real estate photographer near me. Now, I'm in Solon, that's where I did it from. But you see, I came up number 1. All right? You don't always come up number 1. You're lucky to be in a 3-pack. But I came up number 1. The reason you see this giant thing here is because I clicked on the little red thing and it blew me up, which gives you more information on your company that you're looking at, okay? Now, your Google business profile is free, all right? So you definitely want to claim it. So almost everybody here has not claimed it. There are 3 ways to claim it. You can claim it, well, there's 3 ways to work on it, put it that way. There's 1 way to claim it. What you want to do is you want to go on Google and you want to go to google.com/business if you're on a computer, or just Google the name of your company, all right, and find it. And almost always now it will say, do you want to claim this business? It's easier, I can tell you right now, my preference, because you can do Google Maps and you can control it from Google Maps, you can control it from the Google search. My favorite is google.com/business, and that's because in a lot of these cases I'm going to show you is that you're going to want to use a word processing like Word or something like that to type up your descriptions of different things ahead of time so your spelling's correct, you've got the wording the way you want to get it, and then you just cut and paste. Makes life a lot easier, okay? So that's the way you're going to do it. So it's pretty simple to go ahead and do. I also, at the end, I will give you my email if anybody wants. I have it written out step by step how to claim it and what to do with your Google profile, okay? Now, The most important thing once you put your name and claim it is your category. That is number one of what you do. Now, here's the thing though. If you're a lawyer, nobody's an attorney here, but if you're a lawyer, that's not good enough. It's too vague. All right? If you try doing your main category by lawyer, who knows where you're going to wind up. All right? But if your main thing is personal injury, that's a different story. Okay? Now you're getting more succinct. Now, which I'll show you in a second, there are other categories you can use. In other words, there's a main category, and then you can do up to, I think it's 7 additional categories, right? So let's say you are a personal injury lawyer, but you also do wills and trusts or whatever. Those, if they have that kind of listing, you want to take it as your other ones. But you want to look at what is the bulk of your business. What is the main thing you do that you accomplish? And you want that to be the number one category that you're putting on there, okay? Now, this is, every year this one company gets together the best people in Google, and this was for Google My Business at that, again, they hadn't changed the name yet, at the end of 2021, and they got the best experts together, and they gave them a survey to try and find out what are they doing, what's most important, what's going on with what they've accomplished. I'm going to go over the first 4 or 5 for you, okay? Number 1 is like I just said, is your primary category. That is the most important of search of people finding you. Number 2 is the keyword in your business title. Now you can't always do that, all right? But let's say, for instance, you had a pizza place, and it was John's Pizza. You could, if you wanted, rename, if you're in Ravenna, and say John's Pizza of Ravenna, all right? That would, because again, we're talking local search, and probably the people that are coming to John's Pizza are in the area of Ravenna, right? So if he did John's Pizza of Ravenna, he's got a great chance of helping his listing rise and his ranking rise higher. But if you start throwing different cities or things like that just in front of your name and it doesn't make sense, Google's not stupid, they will actually shut down your listing and make you have to fix it. You don't want that, all right? But that's kind of how it's happening. Let me just check something and make sure I'm being recorded. I am, okay, just double checking. All right, so number 3 is proximity of the address to the point of search. So again, we're sitting here and you're saying, okay, where's a pizza place? The first one's going to come up the ones that are the closest, or the ones that have optimized their Google business profile in this area. You're not going to get somebody in Westlake in the top 3 being in Ravenna, all right? Now you've searched them, different story. But if you're looking for a category or a type of something, that's what we're talking about here. All right. Does everybody here pretty much work locally? I mean, you work with people local? Okay. All right. The third one, it's kind of actually the fourth one is a physical address in the city of search. All right. So let's say it's Joe's Pizza in Ravenna. All right. Okay. So you're close to Ravenna. That would probably come up. And the proximity of the point of search. Those two kind of go together. All right. Which I mentioned a minute ago. And the fifth one is your additional Google My Business categories, which I mentioned you can do other categories, not just the one, but you need to really focus on what is your prime category if you really want this to work right for you, okay? Now, this is inside when you use the computer, this is what it looks like. This is Google Business Profile Manager. That's for Mail-Rite Media. That's me, all right? That's my company. Now, interestingly, right in the home, on the home section, it shows that last month I had 588 views, 292 searches, and the activity 153, that's the people that looked at my photographs that I have on Google My Business, okay, Google Business Profile. Now, it is interesting. This search is right here. These are people that found me looking for Mail-Rite, all right? There were 219 of the 292. That's up 584%, month over month.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, thank you. That blew my mind. That was like,
Incredible,
yeah, what's a wow.
That's incredible.
People who discover me because of Google My Business, or I mean, again, I keep saying that, but that's what most people still refer it to because they kept it that so long. But the business profile on search was 73. That's up 248%. Again, going back to doing it correctly and optimizing, right, and having the right tools to do that. That's a professional thing, but you still can do quite a bit all by yourself without having anybody even optimize it. Okay? But when you optimize it, you see how it can absolutely soar. Okay? The searches, if you go to insights on that line, then they give you this little thing so you can kind of see a diagram. But basically, it's the same thing I just said. This is the ones that searched for me, and those are the ones just found me. Okay, now, who here has a service business that does different services? Anybody? You do. Okay. You kind of do, right? All right. So, if you look all the way down here, you'll see service at the bottom. See that? That is critical to fill it out correctly. And here's what I mean is this. You'll see this is for my photography company. Okay? David Allen Photography. And I listed the different services that we do. Corporate photography, events and parties, headshots and portraits, product, real estate photography, and virtual 360 tours. Okay? I didn't just list them. I put an actual description of what it is we do in that category. And I also used, for instance, you'll see Cleveland Solon, Cleveland Solon, Cleveland Solon, because when someone's searching, those things come up. It's important for those to be there, the area that you service. Okay?
So hypothetically, like even with the chamber, I could use that to list our benefits potentially of the chamber?
Yep, sure you could.
That is so cool.
Yep. And then you would want to say Ravenna,
Yeah.
comma, ba 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 ba,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's
But
cool.
you can't tell you how many people have fill out their Google profile. They never touch the services. They're not even there, or they just put them there and there's nothing filled out. It has to be filled out. The more you do, the more you'll get. Like anything else, and the more Google sees that you are interacting with their stuff, the more like bonus points they give you, and they raise you up in your rating. Okay. Now, as long as I have this up, let me just share something with you here. Up on the left-hand side, you'll see home. There's post. That's where you'll post from. Again, post. You want to post as often as you can, maybe once a week if you have the ability to do so. Like for instance, real estate. You got a new listing, post it. Right? You sold somebody a house or was residential. Is that right? You sold somebody a home, list it. You got a new open house, do a post for it. All right? Keep yourself active. Info, I showed you before, that was kind of giving me some of the information. The info also was going to be, here's something that people mess up. You're going to have like your name, right? The company name, your address, things that are simple, but people don't, okay, your hours. And a lot of people just leave it alone. It says 24 hours. Well, you're not, unless you're 7-Eleven, you're not open 24 hours. That's like a mark against you. Because they look and go, wait a minute, that business is not a 24-hour business, right? So you want to put your hours in. You want to fill out the info part as thoroughly as you possibly can. And they got a little thing there showing you how you're doing. You're never going to get 100%. I don't know how you get 100%. No one's figured that one out yet. But you never get 100% like that wheel completed. But you start to see how you're filling stuff out and you're getting things done, okay? The insights I showed you. Reviews. Very important, okay? Everybody, what's one of the first things you look at when you're looking at a listing, right? You're looking at the reviews. Anybody like them? Are they around? What do they do? That kind of thing, right? Calls, you want to make sure your phone number is on there if you want people to call you off that. Messages, they have a message thing where people can message you right off of that listing. But their big thing is you need to respond. If you're going to have that activated, you need to respond to their messages within 24 hours, or they'll turn your message thing off. They're like, nah, you don't participate with it, we're cutting you off.
And do you have to check that, or does it alert you?
It'll alert you. It'll send you an email or a text, yeah,
Okay.
depending on how you want to be taken care of.
Okay.
Okay? Photos, pretty obvious, right? Photographs, but you want to, there's some different dimensions. I don't have it on top of my head. They're kind of square, all right? 1 by 1 is great for that, for the way they do stuff. Bookings, I'm not really familiar with it. I use Calendly, but it might be some kind of a booking service. You probably pay for that one, all right, because I haven't messed with that. Products. Anybody here have a store? No store? Okay, you have a store, right? Okay, so you have products. So you want to use the product part too. In other words, a product is not a service, right? So differentiate what you have, right? Like some of the products you have are books, right? Coming here is a service. It's a privilege, really, all right? I don't know if you folks, I did a little research as I looked this place up to find it and what was going on and what was going to be available. And one of the things I thought was really cool is that Andrew Carnegie, a lot of you may know, when he decided to give away all his money over time, created basically the library system in the United States. And this library right here in Ravenna was one of the ones he gave a $10,000, which $10,000 I think 1902 or something like that. It was a whole lot of money. It didn't complete it. They had to get somebody else who got some more money than he built. But I've never heard of a library that he actually, that's the library he donated to help be there. So I thought that was kind of cool. Okay. Anyway, so in the products thing, you can do like specials. Let's, for instance, I'm sorry, tell me again what you sell.
Well, we have a for-profit, which we sell coffee and food, like lunch.
Okay.
Yeah, and
All right.
this is actually who provided the lunch.
Okay, so all right, let's just take one of these for a second, right? One of these lunches. You could take a picture of it. You might, that's one of your products, and you could also create a special for it, right? And it could, for 1 day, 2, whatever you want. You can do all kinds of things on there. But the more active you are with posting, and your products and things like that, you'll see the more you'll be raised because you're being active, as long as you fill everything else out correctly. Okay?
We're now separating the product, those kind of products, from the main business. And I think sometimes Google doesn't do a good job in differentiating both of these things. So they kind of start grouping them together maybe because of the search engine optimization. I'm not too sure.
Right, but that would help them to understand your business better.
Yeah.
By separating what's a service and what's a product right in there. That thing's pretty smart. Okay? Let me see where we're at. 23. Another couple minutes. I got to cut it off and turn it back on again. It's some kind of law in Europe that you can't have a DSLR record for more than 29 minutes without it shutting off. Go figure. I think they did it originally so that they didn't kill the video camera business, but it killed it anyway. I mean, because the professionals, they're still going to buy a video camera, but whatever. Anyway, all right. This is one of the tools I use to search out and look at how I'm doing under certain key factors, okay? So when someone would search, for instance, photographer or real estate photography, commercial, these are different searches that people do. This is where I was winding up when I first started, before I started really optimizing this thing, okay, and really tuning it in. Now, photographer, it's such a generic, right? It's not any kind of, because you can see right off the bat, photographer I'm 113, real estate I'm 19. Because all of a sudden I started to specialize. You see the difference when I talk about the categories, right? But what I want to show you is, for instance, this was done March 31st, all right? 6 weeks later, I went to number 22. Okay, so I went from 113 to 22 in 6 weeks. So you can really make a difference. Real estate, I was 19. Then I turned on May 12th, which was 6 weeks basically, not even, to 16. Commercial, I was 87 and went to 42. All right? Now, this one was kind of weird. I was 53, 95, down to 40. That's what's got me all over the place. I don't really do weddings anyway, so I don't care. I'm not doing anything in my Google thing. They're just, whatever their algorithm is doing that all on its own. I'm not enhancing or taking away from anything. I'm not really doing anything with it. And the video production, I went up from, I think it was 154 to 138. Again, that's not really my forte anyway. I just put it there to see what would happen. I'll probably take those off and switch to something else, okay?
So are you working like the other ones more so?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So you're.
Those are the ones that are more.
Energy is where you're reaping the benefits.
Exactly. Where you're putting the energy
Okay.
is where I'm getting it, okay?